Okay, around the 1630s, 40s, 20s, the Jurchen, which was known as the Jin or the Manchus, they had many names at the time, invaded Korea, started to invade. The Battle of Uiji Fortress is up in the north. Later Jin announced an attack on the northern parts of North Korea, or present-day North Korea, at that time a unified Korea under the Joseon. And here is the map for it. Okay, you can see that, follow the red line there. You can see it. It's going in, okay. And then there was a repelling of these forces. However, then there was a second invasion that happened in 1636, and that one was much more successful. And this is the costume that the Koreans wore at the time, or I should say the soldier's uniform, not costume. Costume is what we do. Okay. And then this is also their soldiering uniforms. Okay. And I guess they call it body armor. And then here is kind of like pikemen, if you play the game of Civilization 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And I've never played one. Never played the original. And then this is the Manchu version of the clothing. Okay. So, and then these here are some of the swords they used. Okay, and then we'll continue. Here's some more gunpowder weapons during the time period. This one is really interesting. It's a big, huge crossbow. It takes a big, huge man to even man that crossbow. And then these are more gunpowder muskets. And then you have more modern gun-like muskets that you're used to seeing. And then that's a map of the Manchu invasion. Manchus are not Mongols, but they did intermarry. I am supposedly also have some blood from a clan in the Manchus called the Hulu tribe, and but that didn't come up on my DNA test, so I have no idea. Okay, now, but I am a confirmed CM217 grandson of Genghis Khan. Great grandson, that is. I can't prove my lineage to Kublai Khan. He might have been an uncle rather than a daddy. To me, that is, or a granddaddy. But now we're getting off the subject. Okay. So, this fortress that we see here was born during, or was created during King Zhongzhou. This was his fortress. This was in the north. It's a small, tiny replica. You can see how beautiful it is. Beautifully made replica. And it's even got some people standing watch, looking out for the enemy. And then this is the gate of the city. The gate of the city. Okay. So then we have some more of this lot of museums now are going digital. So they're doing their digital recreations. It's very interesting. And that is his royal procession. Oh, we had that in the other video too. Remember the one from the National Palace Museum. And then this is some cannons and a display of the fighting. This is powers with imperialism. So sometime in the 1900s, the Western forces came in. America signed a treaty. But first, let's talk about the French. The French wanted to do a little bit of colonizing, and there was some suppression of the Catholics in Korea, so the French came in and did their thing, and that's a French uniform. It's a French ship. The Glory. The Glory. Okay. And then over here we have United States Expedition, and we'll pick it up on the next video. Okay, unlike the Meiji, who kind of peacefully accepted the Great White Fleet of Matthew Perry in 1853, 1854, the Joseon dynasty was more resistant to foreign trade, and this all had to be opened by gunboat diplomacy. Gunboat diplomacy. Okay. And here we go. There was a Japanese-Korean Treaty of 1876. And we'll pick it up in the next video. Actually, we'll just continue to go. Okay. This happened in around 1875. And Japan wanted to open up Korean ports as well. And initially the Koreans refused, but then they were overpowered, and then they had to create an unequal treaty. And this was the beginning of Japanese occupation in their territories. Okay, and then this is actually kind of British. Okay, here is the HMS Pegasus. HMS Pegasus. Okay. This is another opening of ports by gunboat diplomacy, and that's a British uniform, as you can see. And here is a traditional Korean dress. Traditional Korean dress. I'll pull it back a little bit so you can see the full. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, that was full dude mode. You got to see him in full dudeness. Okay, and there's some descriptions here. So they created an office to deal with these foreigners. That's basically what the sign says, and here are some of the troops that were carrying weapons at the time. Okay, and then of course you have Qing Dynasty. That's a Qing Dynasty, for a lack of a better word, Mandarin outfit. Okay, and so there was in 1895 something called the Sino-Japanese War, where Japan and China went to war, both over territorial possessions in Korea and some other issues. And China lost, and that's when Taiwan was turned over to the Japanese, and also Korea suzerainty was transferred from China to Japan. Okay, and this is a Gatling gun. Wow, this is a Gatling gun. Never seen one before. Okay, and oops, turning so fast, huh? Okay, so we're going to basically, oh, okay. Here's assassination of Queen Min by the Japanese. Wow. So they came and invaded the palace. Okay, and here's the thing in the newspaper. So the Joseon dynasty gave way to a more moderning of the Korean Empire, kind of like modeled after the Japanese, what they did with the Meiji Restoration in 1867. So this is what Korea did, is they modernized first their uniforms, and then they modernized their battle tactics and weaponry and so forth. And then they even had this steamship. So they were trying to do what Japan was doing. Not quite as successful, but still, Japan was trying to turn Korea into an outpost. So there was a lot of back and forth. Okay. And over here, the military system. This empire was called the Han Empire, not to be confused with the Han Dynasty of China. In fact, Seoul, which in Chinese is now called Shou'er, used to be called Hancheng, because the Chinese call themselves Han, and I think that the name for the great Han Empire of the Koreans is just a coincidence in sound of what was going on at the time. So don't read into it that during this time China had any say in Korea anymore, because it was all turning over to Japan. Okay, and one thing I noticed at these museums was a lot of parents or tour guides teaching children, and that's great. That's just great. Okay, and this is a old map of Japan from the time period. As you can see, that's Japan without Hokkaido. Without Hokkaido. Okay? And then here are some Korean statues of famous people. Famous. Okay, and again, in the Korean Treaty of 1905, the events of 1905 include the Russian surrender to Japan over the Treaty of Portsmouth. That was, it was in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So that's where they had the treaty. And then, again, this is when the Japanese got even more full control of the Koreans. And it was during this time that the last emperor of Korea was forced to abdicate under Japanese pressure. Now, the native Koreans did create their own resistance force, kind of like the Maquis French did in World War II, but to no avail. By 1910, Japanese had colonized Korea fully. By 1910, there was an annexation of Korea by Japan, and that began a 35-year period of occupation. There's a timeline in the wall beginning in 1900 of events that's been happening, but all the way to the surrender of the Japanese in 1945 did Korea regain its independence. And then shortly after, the Russians occupied the north, and or I should say the Soviets occupied the north, and then the Americans occupied the south. Around 1948, both sides decided to pull out under a pullout treaty, and then like 2 years later, the north basically invaded the south and almost took it over, pushed them back to the Pusan perimeter, and then America stepped in with MacArthur invading at Incheon. Okay, and that is for the military part of the video. This is a flag of Korea during the time of the Japanese occupation beginning in 1910. And this looks like it's a Russian, I don't know, it's a Russian machine gun, early version, the kind that you might have seen in World War I, right there. Okay, and then I don't know what this flag is. And then this was the flag of Korean independence, which kind of looks like a modified version of a American star. So, okay, and then there's video everywhere. Okay, and then this is some of the battles that took place during that time period of Korean resistance, which was, this was in 1920. You had basically Korean militia versus Japanese forces. Okay, and we'll stop the video here and continue on. Thank you. Okay, this is the Korean Liberation Army, which fought against the Japanese during World War II. And here are their uniforms right here. And let's see. Okay. There we go. Thank you. There was an election in 1848 to determine whether Korea should be communist or non-communist, and the communists lost the election, but then their own militia decided to do a sneak attack on the southern half of Korea, and that started the Korean War, which will be part of our next piece. One of the amazing things about this museum is the holography of the ancient battle at the Sao-Su River back in the 500 and 600 ADs. And this is more impressive in person than it is on video, but this is basically it's a hologram battle, and the hologram battle is also placed in a background of wax museum pieces and painting. So you got all three mixed up together. It is really impressive, really impressive. Okay, so this is the most amazing war museum I've ever been to. Possibly the most amazing museum other than the British Museum in London. This really exceeded the expectations. A+, A+. I wish I could spend like 20-30 days just in this museum. It's so huge. There's so much detail. There's so much stuff. The wax people are so detailed, and I'm just really amazed. If you do come to South Korea, if you do come to Seoul, Korea, you need to come to this museum. The official name is the War Memorial of Korea, but it's actually a museum because the memorial is just that thing over there, but the museum is attached to it, so I'll probably label it a little bit differently. Now I think I'm gonna go to that big silver thing because it's almost sunset, and they said the big silver thing is more impressive at sunset. And then I'll probably go to Hyundai tomorrow as the final neighborhood of my journey. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. We've said goodbye many times, but I didn't realize until I was leaving the museum that there was actually an entire outdoor section that goes on forever. And unfortunately, I'm not going to have time to come back to this area because each area in Seoul is 1 day per visit. So, you know, like for example, if I came back tomorrow, then I wouldn't have time to go to, you know, to Hyundai or the Buddhist temple on the other side of the Olympic Park, etc., etc. So this is it. I'll just have to watch other people's YouTube videos to see the rest of the stuff I missed, huh? Okay, so please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Phantom on Many Topics. Tell all your friends. Okay. Oh, I don't need to go up that tower. I went up the Latte Tower yesterday. So I hope you watch all my videos that I made in South Korea. Thank you. Bye-bye.